Hey, what's up, Eric? Quick demo video for you for your custom Quinlan Voss made by 7Chambers, and then this thing was etched by Carl Danby over at Volta Valhalla. It is just a beautiful saber. I'm doing this. I'm going to do all of these demos from my office from now on. I've been trying to play with some cameras lately. Haven't been having very much luck. I started this whole channel using my phone, so I'm just going to keep using my phone because my phone seems to work just fine. Plus, now you can see all my awesome stuff in the background, right? So, and my wife took over the garage, so it works out for everyone. But this is your saber, and it is just masterfully etched by Carl. His theme for this was the Colonial Marines off of the Aliens movie, off of Ridley Scott's Aliens. Aliens and Predators, something that I'm a big fan of. And this was a very cool take on that. I have never seen anything done from the Colonial Marines. But you've got Wayland, you've got the Wayland symbol on here. You've got quotes from the Marines. I can show it like that, right? We can just kind of go over this saber up to here. I mean, it's got etching all over it. It's pretty awesome. This was a very strange switch setup. I've never seen these type of tactile switches that came with a saber before. So I had to put the actual tactiles in my chassis, but they had little circular inserts for the switches. So those things had to line up exactly right? So it's a 2-button setup. So your activation, I made this red switch right here. And then you've got 2 of these greeblies here. You've got one here that is actually your auxiliary switch, and then you've got a dummy one on the other side that's nothing. So if you look at it from here, this one's nothing, and this one actually presses in as your auxiliary switch. All right. So I actually printed one chassis. It didn't quite line up. I mean, I was probably like 0.02 inches off for this activation switch. So fixed that, printed another one last night, got this one done this morning, right? To get to everything, what you want to do is open it up like this. On these switches too, when I put them in, I put them in with some E6000. So they go into those tactile housings. They stay there with some E6000. They should never come out on you, but they'll be easy enough to take out in case you ever want to take this chassis out. If you were to take the 2 switches out, this is an all-in-one chassis, okay? So it means, your chassis here, it holds the 2 tactile switches, and then it also acts as your PCB holder, which is down in there, right? It's installed with a CFX. So your CFX board is right here. You can pop your SD card in and out without moving this board. So there's a little bit of E6000 holding the board down too, only because this is such a tight fit into the handle. There's absolutely like no room for wiggle room in here at all, right? It gets to the board, it's super tight. That's the way I like to make them. So when the handle's on, everything's just kind of locked in place. 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker back here. Removable battery. So spring side, you're negative, right? And let's throw a battery in it. I do have Preston's Predator font on here to demo this saber. If that's something that you'd like to have, let me know. We can work that out and get the money over to Preston. But as you know, I'm a huge fan of Aliens and Predator, and he made me this Predator font, and it just sounds really cool on here. I don't have an Aliens font, right? Maybe that's something I'll ask him for in the future. But when I'm putting this battery in, I like to take the sticker on the battery, and I'll put it inside the chassis. Just like that.
Okay, motherfucker.
All right, so now the battery's in. Now when the battery's in, it's super tight. Just take your time with it, work it on. It's just, one more time, super tight in there. Whenever you need to stack the board on top of the battery, things get a little, not hairy, but you just don't have much room for, much margin for error. Activation. Auxiliary. Turn it off. We'll throw a blade in it. It does take a 1-inch blade. So when it comes to this chassis, it is not locked down in any way. I made sure that when I modeled this chassis up, it was a super tight press fit to the upper half. So super tight press fit, it almost didn't go in, but that's how I wanted it because I didn't want to add any type of set screws into the Saber. So I had to press fit this guy in, I had to do it exactly right, and then these switches went on, everything's locked down that way. And you have a nice blade blade chamber. It's not called a blade chamber. What is it? Forget what it is off the top of my head. Blade socket, right? So you don't have to press super hard to get the blade in. So all that combined, I knew it was okay to do a press fit chassis, and you wouldn't put too much stress on it, right? So just go down until you feel it stop, lock it in place with your blade retention, which is right here. Just like that. Now, of course, if you hold down auxiliary, you get blade lock up. If you don't like the green, this works like all the CFXs I do for you. You know, you hold down that auxiliary and twist your wrist, and then you can cycle through the colors. Personally, I think green is great for this. We missed green. Hang on, let's go back to it. Spectrum. Right there. There, now we got a green blade, right? Nice flash on clash. And we'll turn it off just like that. And then to go to your next sound font, you know, just hold down the auxiliary button. Or before we do that, we're going to double tap the activation. I think I waited too long. Got kind of a long track, just letting it play for a little bit. This thing sounds really good.
Thousands of years ago, these hunters found a backwater planet.
Just like that. Now, as you can, I'll show you real quick when we take this pommel cap off. You've got some really nice sound resonance, right? For one, there's a diameter change in this pommel cap that would have prevented me from having a 28mm speaker, so I wanted to avoid that. You know, that's too small. So you can see your speaker sits in there nice, just about an inch, maybe just over an inch. So it creates some nice sound resonance coming out of this guy. Now we'll switch over to another sound font so you can see everything's working.
Sound bank selection.
Ancient warriors would
Exit menu.
ancient.
Why do you come to my tomb, Jedi?
Darth Vader.
Spectrum.
Everything's super solid. Just like that. So everything's working the way it should. Let me take this blade out and then we'll go through taking the battery out. Pretty easy, but I just like to do it one time so you see me do it. deep blade socket, so it holds the blade very well. I mean, my finger goes that far in before it touches the pin. So to my last knuckle right there, right? You got all that for a blade socket. That's plenty. When you're unscrewing this, try not to grab this top switch here and don't stress it. I just kind of grab it like this and twist it just like this. I did put some WD-40 on the threads to kind of grease them up a little bit. It did, and it did help. Just that it's the nature of this saber. It's super tight, right? So over here from the positive side, and it comes right out just like that. And sir, that is your saber. Let me know if you got any questions. If you don't, or if this looks good, I'll get it out in the mail to you tomorrow. And I really appreciate all your continued support in your business. All right, thanks, buddy.